once again, everybody. We got Ben here from Blockbuster Mentality, the show where actors, filmmakers, critics, and content creators get to dissect their favorite films. And Dave is with me once again. Dave, what do we got going for tonight?
Ben, I'm so excited because we're talking Dog Day Afternoon with the very talented Kevin L. Johnson, perhaps best known from his role as Sam in the great TV show Ozark. Kevin, thanks so much for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys. Love the movie. Can't wait.
We're excited to talk the movie with you. I'm so glad you picked this film. Now, obviously Dave mentioned Ozark, so it was announced that there is going to be a final season 4. Do we know when that's going to be released?
Well, we haven't started filming yet, so because of COVID. But we're looking at like the next 2 or 3 months being able to start back up here in Georgia. I mean, already some projects have already they've already started pre-production, so that's a good sign. So once we start filming, then I feel like we can, kind of ballpark when it would come out. It'll probably be out next year, for sure. Yeah. We just got to get it started,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is definitely putting a speed bump, a huge speed bump on the entire industry. It's insane what's going on with everything. It's like, are we going to get new entertainment? What's going on?
I think we're going to see how it, we're going to feel it, in a couple months. Like when new shows are supposed to come out, it's going to be that, oh, crap kind of moment.
Right.
There's nothing because there was no shooting going on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, That's we've talked about that before. It's just like, there's going to be like this dip in entertainment where it's just like, what do we watch now? Not sure if you're a sports guy, but I'm glad sports is finally is on coming back. It seems like, unless
I thought the Braves were tonight, and I was like, oh, cool, but they don't play till tomorrow.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I'm glad we didn't interrupt that.
I heard they're going to do CGI fans for the television broadcast. Did you guys see this?
I was watching the Yankees Nationals game before I hopped on. And there's nobody in the crowd, but they're piping in the noise. So it's just it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have something there for the players. I mean, because it's so different for them, such a different atmosphere, Yeah. So I was wondering what was going to go on with that. I heard about like cardboard cutouts of fans. I didn't hear CGI.
I thought I saw something about that.
The Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are going to do like cardboard cutouts, but it's just that's weird. I mean, I get the noise, even though it's weird for the audience to watch, and there's nobody in the crowd. But for the players, I think that makes it a little easier of a transition than just nothing but silence, except when the ball hits the glove or the bat, and that's what you hear. That would just be annoying for 9 minutes.
I mean, but that's what we did on the playground. We didn't get anyone cheering. It was just, it was that noise. So maybe it'll take them back. But but not with artificial noise. So they got that going for them. What can you tell us about the Walking Dead World Beyond TV series? It looks like it's coming up.
I can tell you that I did not make it into the show.
Oh, no.
My scene got cut.
Oh, man.
I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
In the business. It was eventually going to happen. I found out from my agent, hey, they said the scene got cut. But on the bright side, it means I get to go back in the audition pool for, the Walking Dead universe. And
That's true, yeah.
I would love to be a part of one of those shows. Before they're all done. And maybe a bigger role. Who knows?
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely. Now, are you from Georgia, or are you just living there just because that's where you film mostly? And
I grew up in Lake Wylie, South Carolina, but I was born in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I moved to Georgia from Charlotte, actually, in 2015.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. And did you move because of the acting, or was that just random?
Well, my girlfriend at the time was wanting to and I wanted to be, I wanted us to stay together. Right. So I was like, all right, I'll make the move. And it's, it's like when I get situated somewhere, it's hard for me to be like, hey, okay, I'm ready to move on now. But she was, because of her, I was able to, pack up and move, and and it made it easier to make the move, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, well, I'm the same way. I don't like change. I don't like any of that. So without my wife, many things probably would never happen in my life.
But North Carolina's, the tax incentive was drying up because they weren't going to renew it, and everything was leaving, so it just made sense to move to Georgia anyways, and then I I got the audition for Ozark in like early 2016, and it's
wow.
I'm waiting for Sam to just kind of blow everybody away. That's kind of my secret fantasy.
Just to have that one scene. There was that one scene you had with Sam's mother where you got to tell your mother off, which I think is, we all fantasize about telling our mothers off at some point.
Yeah,
so
that was a fun scene. Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure.
By the way, Kevin, if you missed anything in season 3 Ozark, although you were part of the production, you might not have gotten the whole thing. Go ahead, and we did do an episode reviewing season 3. So if you want to get the inside story, check out our show.
We got it all. We got the whole recap for you.
We did a recap.
So there you go. Is there any upcoming projects you did make the cut in that are coming up?
So I was working on something before everything shut down. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it.
Okay.
Had to sign an NDA, but it's a big project, and it should be out next year. I just unfortunately can't talk about
it. Yeah, that's great.
They're super secretive about this.
Please don't blow that over this show.
That's the last thing you want to do. No, but secretive. I like it. I
Good
like
for
it.
you.
Yeah, can't wait to find out what that is. So
Absolutely.
Good stuff, man. So obviously you guys clicked on the episode because we're talking. Well, obviously because of Kevin L. Johnson here, but also because we're talking Dog Day Afternoon, 1975. Starring Al Pacino, directed by Sidney Lumet, who is now, he's a director that I've really I haven't really delved into too much. So yeah, I appreciated that you picked this film. So I mean, let's go into that. Why did you pick this film?
I'm a huge Al Pacino fan. So I personally think it's his best performance he's ever done. The fact that like he's got this nervousness, this anxious, this fear just inside him throughout the movie, like he and it never leaves his body, and it's and even like Pacino said that it was his hardest role to ever do, because I think he was shooting The Godfather 2, and then they had to come back and do reshoots for Dog Day.
Oh wow!
And he said it was so hard to find Sonny again, and it's amazing, and I think it was groundbreaking when it comes to like gay characters in movies, because yes, he is gay, and you do find that out in the movie, but it doesn't you don't identify, like, that's not his main identifier, if that makes like it's
because I mean we don't find that out really until like we find that out maybe in over halfway into the movie, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's his wife, because he wants his wife, and then you see Leon show up, and everybody's like, wait a minute.
Well, what's going on here?
All the characters in the movie are like, huh? And we as the audience are like, what? That's great. And I think that's a good point, is that it's not, it's just who he is. In the sense of, he's just a regular guy, I guess, and he just has Instead, he prefers a man, and that's it. And of course, apparently this is a true story. And the tagline in itself, because I'll just read the tagline on IMDb: a man robs a bank to pay for his lover's operation, which turns into a hostage situation in a media circus. But what I really love about this movie, and by the way, I have to confess, this is actually my first time seeing this film. It was a real blind spot of mine.
Wow.
And I'm so glad you came on, and so glad that you picked this movie, because I am right there with you. I fell in love with this film, and I said to Ben when we were texting, I think this is as good, if not better, than his Godfather performances. Both.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't think he's ever done a role like this. Like I can't remember if he did Serpico before he did Dog Day. But I mean, it's like night and day. I mean, it's this, this innocent quality to Sonny, but this rage and like this, it's, he's not the Godfather at all. I mean, he's in a terrible situation, and he's making it worse, like from the beginning.
He's bumbling around, right? It's almost comical.
It does have some comedy to it. I think it's very. I thought it was really interesting because he went in with a plan. Like he's like, I had it planned. I had it all planned out, and and he burnt. And what's his name? Sal. It's like, Sonny, what are you doing? He's like, I'm burning the register. And
no big deal.
No big deal. Like he thought that would be a good idea to burn the register. Terrible idea, because the guy across the street saw the smoke, and then all of a sudden, hey, the cops are there.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
He's got everything else figured out. He knows about the fake bills. He knows about the alarm key. He knows every little thing. And for some reason, just just put the thing in a bag and take it away.
It's weird because you get little hints of him saying just, obviously he did his research, he did his planning, but at the same time, it just feels like he's making it up as he goes, which is just, it's so fun to watch Al Pacino just be frantic like that and just be, all over the place. And I just love how his hair's disheveled all the time. And it's just like you said, it's not like any, Pacino performance we've ever seen. And it's just, it's
I've never seen
awesome.
a movie like this. I mean, period.
Yeah.
It's one of a kind, man. Like, I think Sidney Lumet, he wanted it to be very natural. And I think that made sense because the movie, it is just chaos from the beginning. Like from the get-go, it is chaos. So to have it be some of it improvised, I think Pacino said some of the stuff Lumet said, to improvise, which makes perfect sense for the chaos that's happening in the moment on a hot freaking day in the summer. Everybody's sweating.
Right.
I love that there was no music in the background.
Right. No score. Yeah,
no score. Exactly. You don't need a score sometimes. And I think that's because it would have taken away from some of those really, really deep, interesting moments.
Yeah. It's so like spur of the moment. Everything is, we as an audience are just, kind of learning this stuff as Sonny's learning it. We're learning what's going on as he's learning it, and right away he's throwing a curveball when the third partner, who was supposed to be the third partner, he's just like, I can't do it. I'm out. He's like, well, he's already got a gun on him. Like, what do you want me to do?
He's just like, well, what do you? He's like, Sal, he doesn't want to do it. Sal, where are you? Like, he's like looking for Sal, and they're going back and forth. I don't know if that was improvised or not, but it was brilliant. Like, just to show that they just didn't have this figured out from the get-go,
right?
What they were going to do.
Go ahead, Dave. Were you gonna?
Yeah, and because here we are in the beginning. What I really love about the beginning of this film, other than you getting some shots of New York City, and of course there's sort of like, I guess, a little bit of a contrast. There's some nice places in New York, and then what you imagine is awful 70s New York City, which it's hard to imagine it actually existed.
Taxi driver New York City.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Travis Bickle to come in and clean this thing up.
Definitely.
But what I love, and when Kevin, we had comedian and actor Wayne Fetterman on, and we were going through box office winners of the decade or something like that. And we were talking about some of the difficulty getting into older movies. And we had this idea of borrowing from the Avatar movie, of course, with the character, he gets into another character. So we were saying, you can avatar into this film. If it's a good old film, how what's your ease of being able to get into it? And I love the choice of this movie because we're right in this thing within 30 seconds. As soon as the action happens, Pacino walks into the bank, and then John Cazale walks into the bank, and then the third guy walks into the bank, and here we are into a robbery. I just love that. I'm hooked like immediately. I'm inside this film, and I just love that so much about just how it busts right into the film. It's a story.
I'm a big fan of like movies that don't have a lot of settings because that's usually a sign that they're going to get right into it. Like it's
right.
There's the bank, and then there's the outside of the bank. And that's it. That's the setting.
It's a bottled movie, It's just all right there at the bank. And I mean, speaking of John Cazale, did we find the pronunciation of that, Dave? Is it John Cazale?
Yeah, Cazale. I was thinking because it's not. He's been dead for. Well, I think his last film was Deer Hunter. I think in '78.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and you don't really hear his name all that much. So I was like, is it Cazale? Or then I actually looked up the pronunciation, so it is Cazale.
He's the only. I think he's the only actor to have on his credits. All of his movies were nominated for Oscars. I think.
I think it's actually nominated for Best Picture. Even.
Oh, nominated for Best Picture. Yeah, he was in all Godfathers.
Right.
Was he in
two?
Godfather 3. There was a Godfather 3, but...
Well, he died in 78, so Godfather 3 came out in like 90, I believe.
Something like that, 89.
And he died in the Godfather 2. I'm a goofball anyways. That's
well, and it was just... It was funny.
He wasn't in Godfather 3, even if he was alive.
He's already passed away.
Yeah, he's gone. But they must have filmed this right before that scene. Like you said, they were going back and forth, so they filmed this before that scene, obviously. But it just seeing them on screen together, it just made me think of the last scene they had in Godfather. You're not a brother, you're not a friend. If you want to see our mother, I want to know 3 days in advance, so I won't be here. It's like, but now they're like robbing banks together. It was kind of endearing.
And John Cazale is like a completely different character in this as well. He's not Fredo at all.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. Then I kind of want to talk about this character. I mean, obviously this comes from a true story, but I just want to talk about movie-wise story. I don't care about the real guy who played him. So just to preface it, what's his deal? What do you think his motivation is for this bank? Because you got him robbing this bank. You got him, wanting to assure the press that he's not a homosexual. Like he keeps emphasizing that.
He's more worried about that than getting arrested.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, he says, you said, we're either going to make this out clean or kill ourselves. What do you think his motivations were? What is he in it for? Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Oh wow.
It's a tough one. I'm struggling myself with it. I know there's got to be a smart or logical answer out there, but just curious what your guys' thoughts were essentially on the character.
He's not the most intelligent person,
right?
Because obviously he doesn't know that Wyoming is not a country, and,
right?
But he's also like, I think one of the lines that sticks out to me for his character in the movie is where he's talking to the head bank teller, and she's about to smoke a cigarette, and he's like. Do you smoke? She's like, no. Well, why are you going to start now? What does it make? Because your body's a temple. Like, and I was like, and I've been trying to figure out what that means, like why he would say that. Like,
right.
So
she calls him out because she's like, well, you're okay. So fine. You're a Catholic but here you are robbing a bank. So who are you to criticize me? And so it seems like, I don't know. So sorry, I jumped in.
No, go ahead. Like I think you're on the right track more than I am.
Not going anywhere. I don't know. But I mean, I read this character, and it is a great point. Just to back up a second, Kevin, of how different a character he is. Because I'm like, oh, it's a John Cazale movie, of course, with like I want to see more of him because he's just not in that many things, and this is one of his that I hadn't seen, and I'm like, well, he doesn't even have any lines. He just stares, for a lot of the time.
But it's brilliant. I think.
No, it's great. Yeah, he's so effective.
Yeah,
I think the guy's definitely a psychopath, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think he's got nothing to lose, kind of a thing. And I mean, he doesn't really give you much. The interesting thing is that he does listen. He follows Sonny, which I wouldn't imagine him being a follower. He seems to be like, Sonny gave me a plan. I'm behind Sonny. I'm gonna see this thing through. I mean, he could have left too if he wanted, but he didn't want to leave. And he stuck it out. And he's like, I'm willing to kill myself or other people. He just doesn't give a fuck about anything. So
I thought it was interesting. I don't know, whether this was intentional or not. But when Sonny's talking to Moretti and the other guy out, I can't remember the FBI guy, but I think even at one point he's like, anything happens to me, I got my guy in there, Sal. I bark, he bites. Like he was kind of setting Sal up as the guy who was gonna, he was gonna do the shit if things went down. So in a way, Sonny kind of made this, to the FBI and to Moretti, like, okay, well, that's the guy we got to worry about. But who knows? Right. All that, I mean, I don't know if Sal would have
Sonny
actually killed anybody.
He manipulated Sal, right? I mean, he got him. Yeah, the whole.
But intentionally, I don't know if it was an intentional thing that Sonny was doing. I can't see that as intentional, but unintentionally, he created the demise because that was who they went after at the end of the movie. Obviously,
right?
They thought he was the biggest threat.
Like you said, with his intelligence, I mean, maybe Sonny was kind of taking advantage of that, just like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I know this guy will just do everything I say. Yeah. No, I don't want him to get hurt or anything, but he'll at least do everything I say. And even Sal, at one point, he's distraught. And so Sonny goes over to him and he's like, what's going on? He said, you said, if things go wrong, we're going to kill ourselves or whatever. He said, he said, you said you were going to throw bodies out one by one.
Yeah.
He said, I'm fucking ready to do it. Like he was, but he would didn't seem happy about it. Like he was almost convincing himself that he would do it, He
was almost disappointed that the mission didn't lead that way.
Right. Yeah. Funny way. Like, you said we were going to throw bodies out. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, come on. So yeah, I thought that was, yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just little tidbits here, and then back to what you were saying with him talking about religion a little bit with your body's a temple and all that, and they're here robbing banks, and I also love the line of Al Pacino at the beginning. He says, "I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm a Catholic." It's like brilliant line, brilliant delivery. But it almost seems like I don't know if Sidney Lumet here or actually who did write the screenplay. I'm gonna look that up.
Oh, you're looking it up. It is interesting the way Pacino says that or Sonny says that because they all believe him. I mean, really. Nobody was really afraid of him ever.
No.
Any of the girls working there, even the guy, not really. And they end up basically becoming on his side. It's just crazy. Along with, the rest of New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I mean, it was like the theme of, this 15 minutes of fame kind of deal and how the media can make you out to be the hero or it can also make you out to be the villain. Yeah. And it can go... and it can switch on you,
right?
Because he was like this rock star, and you saw like when he comes out there, you can see it in his eyes. He's like, oh man, I got him in the palm of my hands right now.
Yeah. Right.
Sonny was feeling the fame at that time, and he
yelling
was just,
Attica and all this stuff.
Yeah, which was an improv line, I think, and it became one of the most famous lines in film history.
Yeah, I think it's on the AFI's 100 lines of all time or something. I think that's or famous lines of all time. Yeah. Attica is in there. So there you go.
Yeah,
it was a.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's your show, Dave. Go ahead.
I just want to the spectacle that was outside is worth talking about a little bit, because I guess it was the 75 this movie, and you can see what's going on with this film. You can imagine being in a theater in 1975, and 1975's version of the stuff we see on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever. Yeah. That's what, everyone was tuning in, kind of a thing. And I like how the movie got you there on, okay, this is a giant public spectacle. Someone, like you said, Kevin, the media is now maybe gonna make him a hero or not. But they didn't do anything like show families in their apartments watching TV or anything like that. You knew what they did show. They show Sonny's own family, but not random people showing you that this is a wide.
Everybody thing. Was there, watching
exactly.
unfold.
Do you notice Junior Soprano is his father?
Yes.
Oh, is that who that was? I never thought it was familiar.
Yeah.
Well, because I've been rewatching Sopranos. Dave is sick of me saying that, but I've been rewatching it. And, but yeah, I just noticed right away. But yeah, to build on what you guys were saying, it almost seems like Sonny is looking for some sort of meaning. So he's like totally grasping on to the admiration he's getting from the crowd. He's totally buying into that, like, I'm in control, because you have his I guess first wife that he has with his kids. She's saying like, this isn't Sonny, like he's been, it's just only recently that he's been kind of going crazy, kind of saying crazy things. Like it almost seems like, he's almost having, I don't know, a midlife crisis or
he's living
something
a double
like
life.
that. Yeah, he is leading a double life, but is that part also, him just trying to find some sort of meaning? It's
maybe he's just trying to figure out who he is.
Interesting theme.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's just an interesting theme, I thought, is just, him trying to find some sort of meaning, which ultimately led to tragedy, in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who is he? Am I the guy with the nagging wife and the two kids in the welfare apartment, or am I the guy with Leon, who I'm threatening to kill, I guess, but I'm willing to rob a bank to help get Leon what he wants? It's really crazy to think about. So it is a crisis, Ben. It's just a crisis of identity, I guess I would say.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I mean, it's and again, as we were saying before, this movie was definitely ahead of its time, just like the last film we spoke about, which was Thelma and Louise with Scott Mantz. That movie was ahead of its time with the Me Too movement. Now, this movie, I believe, was ahead of its time, like you were saying, with the LGBTQ movement and everything like that. And I believe, this film wasn't political about it either. Like, it was very neutral. It didn't, you had the people in the background, like, kind of making fun a little bit of Chris Sarandon's character. But at the same time, it didn't feel like a movie from 75 would treat it this way.
Yeah, the way you would imagine it, yeah.
Right, exactly. And speaking of which, Chris Sarandon, amazing performance in this role. Did get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
I thought he did. Yeah, I thought he did. Yeah. Wasn't quite sure.
Yep. So
he's great. I mean, he every line he delivers, you absolutely great performance by Prince Humperdinck.
I think Al Pacino. I mean, he was nominated for this, obviously, but I can't remember who won that year.
It was Nicholson for
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? Yeah.
75. And another fun fact. So we did Thelma and Louise, which came out in 91, which lost their Oscars to Silence of the Lambs because they won the Big Five. They're one of 3 films to win the Big Five for picture, director, screenwriting, lead actress, and lead actor. So it lost to that. Now we're doing this film a week later, and this lost to, and the other film that did that that won the Big Five, which was Cuckoo's Nest. I found that out like a half hour before we started recording. So
it sucks for Dog Day that it had to go up
right.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is a classic, obviously too.
Yeah, I mean, you think like if it came out any other year, like it would have been. But I mean, it's that's why Oscars. I love the Oscars and stuff, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't love a movie that didn't win an Oscar. But this actually did win for Best Original Screenplay, by the way. So anyways, but
I think I like this movie better than Cuckoo's Nest. Kevin,
I mean, obviously I did. I mean, it's my favorite movie. So
I'm with you, Kevin. Why do you think Sonny decided to rob a bank? I mean, we know ostensibly it's for the $2,500 for the operation, but what made him so desperate to do this? I guess maybe to go back just a little bit about what's motivating him. I want to get your take.
I think it's very timely because I mean, he's not a wealthy person. He even says what am I going to do? Because I think the guy who runs the bank, he's like, well, why don't you just get a regular job? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not in the union. Can't get a job if I'm not in the union.
Right.
So he didn't have a lot of choices, and unfortunately, it shows what poverty can do to people. And love. I mean, he loved Leon, and he wanted to do anything to get the money that he needed to have, for the operation. So
was it
he had no other choice?
Like, you get it or fail. This is a giant grand gesture of love. Maybe can you say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think. If you're going to rob a bank for somebody, I would think that that's the person that you love the most. So
yeah,
certainly not his first wife. He never would rob a bank for her.
Not so much. Another thing that hit me, when he was on the phone with Chris Sarandon, Leon, I believe is the character's name. He kept saying, I'm dying. And then, Chris Sarandon just got fed up with it. Him saying that, I mean, I saw like, I don't know if that just meant like, is he saying that like he's just dying just because of the situations he gets himself into because of, like you were saying, with poverty, he can't get jobs,
Yeah.
He's, it's, I thought that was a unique thing because he says it again to his other wife, I guess we can call her, ex-wife. He says that to her as well. I'm dying. I thought that was quite interesting that, he kept using that phrase.
How about all those phone calls?
He couldn't get a word in edgewise with his wife. Like,
I know.
He couldn't talk. She was just like, boom, 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 boom.
And then he freaks out, and then she's like, I don't get it. It's like, but I'm like, if I was Al Pacino, I totally understand. Like,
he's
let
making
him
it about
talk.
her. He's the one that's potentially is going to get arrested or die or something, and she's complaining about how it's going to affect her life. Like, no way. How about the acting for all these phone calls was so good. And as we said, as Leon.
And the writer was Frank Pearson, who also wrote, looks like Presumed Innocent, Cool Hand Luke. He wrote. So yeah, he's in good company there. But yeah, back to that subject. It looks like he was touching a little bit on maybe the contradictions sometimes with what people feel with religions. Obviously, I'm not knocking anyone listening or anything like that, but it does seem like they're trying to touch a little bit on contradictions of it, because again, you do have Sonny saying, which it's a funny line, I don't want to hurt anybody, I'm a Catholic, but here I am stealing, thou shalt not steal. And then you have John Cazale's character saying, the body's a temple, and then the bank teller even brings up how you're robbing a bank, but yeah, I thought that that was a little touch on that. They didn't go deep into that, especially probably in 1975. It probably wouldn't have went over well if they and I don't even know if that was the intention, but it's just something that kind of, I don't know, stuck with me, that maybe they were trying to bring that up a little bit.
They had Leon and Sonny got married by a priest, and they said they defrocked the priest for doing it. So he is living. He calls himself a strong Catholic, but his own religion doesn't approve of his lifestyle. And he's got to deal with that too.
Yeah. I mean, and then ultimately, I mean, obviously we can, touch on other stuff, but I mean, he's got to feel the guilt of what eventually did happen to Sal, at the end there, which was quite a unique setup and kind of accurate to what actually happened in real life. Which I was surprised. Apparently, he got shot in the chest in real life in the movie. Obviously, you go for the head. It's more dramatic. But yeah, he actually that kind of went down like that. They did drive them to the airport and everything. But yeah, I mean, you got to think Sonny is feeling, guilt at this point. I mean, you got a guy who thinks, Wyoming is a country, he's obviously not the brightest, and you here kind of possibly manipulated him into going through all this, and now he's gone.
Kevin, isn't that what Leon said to Sonny, saying when he's said I'm dying, he's like, you're killing everybody around you, and I was definitely struck by that when they pulled the trigger on Sal. I mean, because here he is. He's still alive, despite him saying he's dying. He's there, and everyone around him is dead, essentially, or at least a friend that he brought with him.
Okay, yeah.
What about Algeria? Kevin? What would you pick? Algeria? What would be your choice?
Oh wow, Algeria. I wonder why he picked Algeria. I'm bad with
Leon
geography.
says something like, "Oh, they put things over their face and wear strange things on their heads," or something like that. He says. It's such a funny line.
Yeah,
I'd probably go to Italy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were again with the Thelma and Louise episode. There's a lot of juxtapositions with this movie and that movie, but we were talking like the choice in movies always seems to be Mexico. That's where we need to go. Mexico. Yeah. But yeah, Algeria definitely an interesting choice.
How many TV shows and movies have you seen where it's this situation? I wonder, was this the first movie where they called for a plane? I don't know. I'd be curious about that because I've seen this. I've never, it feels like, how many TV shows and movies have you seen where it's like, I got hostages, give me a plane, I'm going to get out of here. And it never works. And so,
I don't see how that, they're not going to let anybody leave.
Right.
It's amazing that they think that they're going to be able to get on the plane. Like, I really feel like Sonny thinks, we did it. We did it.
They're gonna let me get on this plane.
Who's gonna fly the plane?
Yeah, but I think that whole who is gonna fly the plane? That whole last sequence though, the moment they get in the car, first of all, they're all in the circle holding hands.
So
they say, all right, quickly get in the car. Yeah. It's and then that's where the suspense starts, building up. And actually, before that, suspense starts building up because at first he wants the guy who actually brings him the limo to drive, and they're like, and then he realizes, oh no, you're a cop, you're trying to play me. No, I want the agent to drive.
What do you think that was? Was he just overselling? I was curious what you both think. I just assumed he was just overselling.
The limo driver?
Yeah. Is that what
like he was trying? He was trying too hard to not act like a cop.
Yeah. That's the best I can come up with.
I thought it was interesting that that Sonny was like, come on, you can't fool me. Like, you can fool me from the get-go. But they were both cops, right? Weren't they both cops? Yeah. So either way.
Yeah. I mean, one was an FBI agent, one was a cop or FBI agent. I don't know. Either way, you're
either way, yeah.
It is interesting. Go ahead. Kevin.
Either way, that gun was going to be there.
Yeah.
It was there from the get-go.
Yeah. So. That ain't going nowhere.
No.
But yeah, the tension that starts to build in that last sequence when they get in the car and then, they start driving and Sal's got his gun pointing forward and the driver's like, you're going to want to point that up in case we hit any bumps, and then he even says it again. So you're like, okay, something's happening here. And that who was that oh my God, I can't think of that actor. Who is it? That wasn't.
He looks very familiar. The guy who was driver.
Yeah, was that Bill from Kill Bill?
He's I mean, he's older now, but
David Carradine? I don't think that was David Carradine.
No, it looked like a younger version of him. So I'm obviously wrong. So never mind.
It is
but if
somebody
I'm right,
that's been in stuff like
yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't see it here.
Yeah, we don't do research before the show. We just kind of wing it. So, but yeah, I mean, you got him saying, you got to keep the gun up. It might fire, and I'm thinking like, if I'm Sal, I'll say, okay, I'm taking my chances. Whatever, I'll take my chances. That's what I would say. Probably not. I'll be a pussy in this situation. But anyways, but yeah, them driving there, and then you got Sonny. He's like, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Like, are they gonna have food on the plane? And he, asked the agent, is there gonna be food? Yeah, we're gonna have hamburgers. And then that's
sure.
That's when ultimately he says one more time, again, you got to keep that gun up. We don't want any accidents. And Sal's just like, okay. But I think that ties into his intelligence and everything. He doesn't, he doesn't fully get it. It seems so. Yeah, definitely tragic.
I thought it was reckless. Like all those people in that car, and you get one shot at the forehead of a guy that you're aiming at.
Yeah,
because that was their guy. They were obviously going to go for. They weren't going to go for Sonny because Sonny wasn't. They didn't think Sonny was a threat.
Well, was the FBI agent playing Sonny when he initially told him? What did he say? Like, we're going to get Sal. Don't worry, you'll be, or something like that. They say. Do you think the FBI was just playing with him, or?
No, I think it was real. I think Kevin, you were talking about this earlier. I think kind of like setting him up a little bit, inadvertently, right? Inadvertently. And then the FBI picks up on that. Like, okay, that's the dangerous one. And then since Sonny is being reasonable, that the FBI guy was basically trying to it was a form of negotiation and making a little bit of a deal with him. Like, if you play it cool, Sonny, you'll come out of this at least alive, kind of a thing. And that's what happened.
Okay. I accept that answer. Another moment that stuck out to me was the when he's like writing the wills and everything, just the way he's talking. Like, again, Al Pacino is just amazing in this this role. Just the way he's talking, writing the letters, about what's going to who, and then talking to his son, who's like, I hope you remember me, and you're the little man of the house now. I thought that was a very touching and emotional moment, and I thought that was another nice little touch. I do have to check out more Sidney Lumet movies because his first movie was 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men. Last movie was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Crazy.
I mean, and then he's got a range of movies in between that. It's insane. But I guess in this movie he wanted a lot of what's the word, guys? Oh my goodness. Hello.
Improvisation?
There you go. Thanks, Kevin. There was a lot of improvisation in this movie, and I noticed that, like, the dialogue is so natural in this movie, and it's so, you even have, like, you don't see this much in movies, like, you got when the security guard goes out for asthma and they, go after him, and then Sonny's yelling at the detective who's initially working the case, and he's like,
I really liked it.
You sent a girl out. I mean a guy out. Like, you don't often see that. Like, he totally just misspoke, but
they left it in.
Himself.
I love how they left that in.
Like, yeah, me too. Like, it makes it so much more natural. Like, when you're in a stressful situation, you're gonna misspeak sometimes, and that it totally flowed just fine. And I so appreciated that.
I think I remember reading somewhere. The guy who played Moretti was he was more of a classically trained actor, whereas Pacino was from the Lee Strasberg. Class of more like naturalism, and you could see that in those scenes, like where they're like going like back and forth with each other, and he's cutting Moretti off, and it's just like,
yeah,
and it's frustrating. You can see he's just frustrated, and he uses the frustration.
That's a great dynamic with those two. So good.
Yeah.
Just it's a bank robbery movie, and then it kind of turns into social commentary a little with again, I can't praise enough Chris Sarandon. I thought he was brilliant. The acting in this movie was absolutely brilliant. Any other points you guys wanted to bring up? Any other? Go ahead, Dave.
I got two. One, because we were talking like this movie dealt with this stuff and not bang you over the head with it, not super overtly political. But I do remember at one point when the news reports basically told everybody who Sonny was and how he was with Leon and all this stuff. I did notice there was a change in the way the hostages looked at Sonny. Their tone towards him definitely shifted. They went from "we're going along" to a little bit disapproving when that information was revealed.
Yeah, I mean, even when the one, what's her name? She was the kind of like the main bank teller. It seemed like she was kind of the boss of them.
Yeah.
The detective's like trying to grab her, like, let me just take one, and she's like, no, I'm staying in here with him. Like, it's I think they definitely started taking their side, and it even shows that when they're at the airport and they let the one girl go, Maria, I believe, and she is worried about Sal, like this is your first flight.
Yeah, I thought that was a sweet moment. Even knowing what was going to happen, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I think they thought they were actually going to get on that plane.
So delusional.
They really did. Maria definitely thought. I mean, she wouldn't have given Sal the necklace or bracelet or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, it's almost fitting, though. I mean, essentially Sal got what he wanted because it didn't go smoothly. So we were going to kill ourselves.
He wasn't going to go back to jail, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, he said he's not going back to jail, So essentially, I guess you can find peace in the fact that he's not going to go to jail like Sonny is. And, that's what he was going to do anyways. So I think you can find peace in that, at least. Dave, you said you had another.
Yeah, one more point about how relevant this film really is. The social stuff, and then there's also this whole kind of I don't want to call it anti-cop, but that kind of rhetoric going on in this film as we're kind of dealing with that stuff now about trigger happy cops and all that sort of. It's the same. It's the same.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why he starts chanting Attica, Attica, because of the whole.
We're not far from that, really. It's
very relevant.
Yeah, but that was interesting.
It's crazy how timely a 45-year-old movie can be. It's.
I think that's how it's like a classic. I mean,
right?
You can touch on themes that are very prevalent today in movies from the 70s. That means it's timely. For sure.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. And timeless, even.
This movie didn't feel that old. I mean, it obviously takes place in its time, but there's nothing really dated the film all that much, the technology stuff, whatever. This is very watchable. There was very little dialogue that placed itself in its own time, except for maybe a reference here or there. I love movies like that. The way they don't they're not trying to be hip in the moment. They're making something so that three of us can still find relevancy in it. So love that.
Absolutely.
Now, Kevin, you say this is your favorite movie of all time. When were you first introduced to it? Like how did that come about?
The first time I saw it was in I think in college. I was just watching it at a friend's house, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I don't think it was until I watched it again when I started taking acting classes and really watched the performances and, to see Pacino in that after seeing him. I think I saw Scarface at one point before I saw Dog Day again. So I had seen him in other performances, and it's just like, man, he just kind of just disappears into this role.
Yeah.
So I think I think one of the main reasons it's my favorite movie is the performance by Al Pacino, but then also it's just there's no holes in it. It's just it starts with a bang. It's like it's chaos from the get-go, and there's no drop off.
Yeah. I mean, it starts, kind of, in a high, a high note with what is it? Elton John's Amarina. So it starts with that. You're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a happy movie. Which again, this movie did have a lot of humor, a lot of laughable moments, which is just it was enjoyable. I mean, there's obviously sad moments, especially at the end, but it's still such a enjoyable, easy watch. It's if you love acting, I think this is definitely a go-to for that, and just filmmaking in general. I mean, again, with the natural dialogue and the improvisation.
There it is. Yes,
I did it. of the that Sidney Lumet allowed. I thought that was fantastic. So, so would you say Al Pacino's your favorite actor?
It's him and Dustin Hoffman.
Okay.
It's like 1A, 1B, and it's hard to choose. They're both up there, and it's funny because I think Al Pacino turned this role down because he didn't think he was going to be able to play it. He was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to portray this guy. And then Dustin Hoffman was like the next guy that they went to, and Al Pacino was like, wait a minute, because they were
no,
because they were like rivals. I mean, because they were kind of the same kind of actor. I mean, they were
no, definitely, they had like that same tone to them and everything. And it's funny, even watching this time, this is my second time watching it. I haven't watched it in years, but I was seeing a lot of, like, it reminded me of Dustin Hoffman, a lot of what he was doing, a lot of what he was saying, the way he was, the way he did his accent and stuff. I don't know. It felt very Dustin Hoffman to me.
I'd be interested to see what Dustin Hoffman would have done with it.
Yeah.
I think it would have still been a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Because they're both phenomenal actors.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, put you on the spot real quick. Top 3 Al Pacino movies. Obviously, number 1 is Dog Day Afternoon. What's 2 and 3?
For me, it goes Dog Day, Serpico, which is another Sidney Lumet movie.
Yep.
Just coincidence, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, man, I really liked. I like The Godfather 1. I like seeing the transition from innocent Sonny to the guy who has to shoot the guy at the dinner, in the restaurant and become the guy.
Sure. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. Love that great character development, as they call it. So yeah, no, good stuff. So yeah, that's. Did you have any other thoughts on Dog Day Afternoon that you wanted to express?
Just that people need to, if they haven't seen it, they need to watch it, especially if you're an actor.
Yeah.
And you want to watch a powerful performance from beginning to end by the phenomenal Al Pacino, then Dog Day Afternoon, in my opinion, is his quintessential movie. I mean, he won an Oscar for Scent of a Woman,
right?
Which is good, but I mean, I think he won the Oscar for his career.
Definitely. That was a legacy.
Yeah, he should have won it for Dog Day or Serpico.
Definitely.
So, right. Yeah. It was that was when he started to become a caricature of himself.
I thought, it's always interesting when people are like, Scent of a Woman is his best movie. I'm like, what?
You're crazy.
Just because he won an Oscar,
he won an Oscar, but have you not seen Dog Day Afternoon?
Similar to like DiCaprio, like I don't think Revenant's his best movie. Like he won the Oscar for it, but again, I think that was a legacy pick.
Yeah,
but it's interesting the way Pacino aged. He kind of almost became like a different person. Like His voice changed, his whole like persona, who he is. It just seems like a very different. You watch him in this movie, like of course in The Godfather and all that, and then you see him now. It's like wow, I don't know.
His voice is higher, and you know when he's younger, and it's nowhere near that now.
No.
Yeah, it's. I remember watching Godfather when I was a teenager. I had already seen Al Pacino when he was older at that point. So like watching him in Godfather, I was like, how is this Al Pacino? This isn't Al Pacino. Like, there's no way this is Al Pacino. What's going on?
But Dustin Hoffman's voice didn't change that much.
No, it didn't actually. Yeah.
You watch Kramer versus Kramer, and then you watch something. Yeah. Later on, it's still.
I believe I read it was smoking. It
had to be smoking.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, that's Dog Day Afternoon. Kevin, we do a rating system here. You chose the movie; it's your favorite movie of all time. So, I'm sure your rating. I'm not going to be surprised by your rating, but we do a rating system of stars out of 5, which is our quality rating, and then buckets of popcorn out of 5, which is our entertainment value. So entertainment value, your Die Hards, your Jurassic Parks, your stars are your Citizen Kanes, your Godfathers. You want one of us to start so you can get a feel?
You guys go ahead.
Okay. Dave, what do you rate this film?
All right, so to give this thing a rating, this is my first viewing, but I am so glad, Kevin, you picked this movie so I could see it. I was really, really blown away by the realism of this film, by the performance of Pacino. Yeah. The movie is 2 hours and it blows right through, even though, if you really break it down, it's a pretty simple movie that not like a million things happen. They're not going to all different places. So anyway, I'm going to give this thing 5 stars. I don't give out 5 stars lightly. Wow.
This is a moment, Kevin. This is a moment, FYI.
Wow, okay.
Sometimes we have guests that I'm like 2 stars. So there was one of those. Anyway, so this one is legit a 5-star movie, an all-time great. I'm gushing. I want to say an example of what a perfect movie is. When people argue perfect movies, this is basically a perfect movie to me. So,
and this is your first time watching it.
First time watching it, and I can't wait to see it again. I love this movie so much. So 5 stars and 3 buckets of popcorn. It's entertaining, but it's not. It's not like not crazy entertaining, but still 3 solid buckets. So, Kevin, are you ready? Or you want to throw this one to Ben?
So definitely, obviously, if I could give it 6 stars for that first category, I would.
We'll allow it.
And man, but now I'm thinking differently because it's an awesome, my favorite movie of all time, but is it a bucket of popcorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's 5 still.
Nice. Stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Don't overthink it.
Love you, Pacino. You're the man.
Yeah. Definitely. And if you guys are interested, I have a rating. I'm going to go 4.5 stars. And I'll give it 4 buckets of popcorn, actually. I thought, I mean, I'm not bored at all watching this movie. I'm highly entertained. There's humor. There's suspense. There's some action. I 4 buckets of popcorn, 4.5 stars, and that's my rating. I don't have to explain myself.
So all 3 of us absolutely love this film, right? It's just so good.
Sweet.
Have you had the pleasure of meeting Al Pacino, Kevin?
I met him once, briefly. It was my first trip to New York. I went with some other of my buddies who were in my that took acting classes with me, and our teacher, who I still take acting classes, and he's in Atlanta now. He was like, "You got to go see Shakespeare in the Park. They're doing what is it?
Merchant of Venice.
Merchant of Venice. Good Lord, Kevin. Yes, Merchant
Kevin.
of Venice.
Seriously,
I know,
Kevin.
right?
I mean, what are you doing here?
Did you just Google that, Dave?
No, I tapped into my vast knowledge.
There you go. But yeah, Al Pacino played Shylock, and it was so like we had to get there and wait in line because tickets are free for Shakespeare in the Park, but you have to wait in the line. So the line is super long. And so we had to wait there all night. And we almost didn't get in. Like, they were almost out of spots when we got to the front. And I looked at my buddy Chris, and I was like, dude, if we don't get into this, this is going to blow. We came to New York. I came to New York because I wanted to see one of my favorite actors of all time. And we got in, watched the show, was just waiting for Pacino to make it on stage. And it was just phenomenal getting to see him live. And then after the show, everybody's outside waiting for, to try to get a glimpse and autographs and all that. And they didn't say that he was coming out, but they hinted at it. Mm-hmm. So obviously people stuck around because the other cast members, because there was other pretty famous cast members, like the dude from Modern Family. I can't remember the character. The redhead,
Tyler Ferguson.
Yes, he was in the show. So all the cast came out, and then Pacino came out afterwards, and it was just like a mob.
Yeah, the other ones you're just like, yeah, nice to meet you,
And my buddy, he got up there first. I'm pretty like, shy. I don't like to just like push through people.
Yeah.
My buddy Chris, big dude, he got through and he got saw him and like got an autograph. And he's like, Kevin, if you don't fucking get up there, you're gonna regret it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make my way over. So I got an autograph. I still have it to this day. And it's hard to actually say, like, talk to him and have a conversation. But I did say, I just want to say Dog Day Afternoon is my favorite movie of all time. And he looks at me, he goes, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's
great moment.
To be able to say that to someone that, your favorite film of all time, you actually get to meet the star of that. To actually say that to them, first of all, I mean, even though they hear it probably all the time, like, it's still they probably have like moments where they're just like they get the perspective and are like, wow, this is amazing. Like, someone really enjoys my work from 45 years ago. But yeah, that's amazing to be able to meet and say something to.
Yeah, he may not have even said like, "Oh, thanks, man." I can't even remember what he actually said.
It's just a blur.
It was like he looked at me and he goes, I think it was like, thanks. It was something along those lines.
What did the autograph?
You wouldn't even know.
No, I was crying afterwards. I was like,
I bet. What did the autograph?
The playbill.
Okay.
For Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah,
that's
makes
great.
Sense. But
you obviously threw that in the trash immediately.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do with that?
I don't even have it anymore. I should have put it like right next to mine. Do you guys want to see it?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Cool. That's great.
Oh, here it is.
Found it. Look at that.
Very bottom.
There it is.
There it is.
Al Pacino. And awesome. Good stuff. All right, folks. Well, that is Dog Day Afternoon, 1975. What a film. Really enjoyed this conversation, Kevin. And if you have any other films you want to talk about and are in the mood, let us know, and we'll make a show of it, bro. Where can people find you on Twitter, on Instagram, social media? Where can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter is going to be Kevin_L_Johnson. And I got the blue check mark. It took forever to get that thing.
I bet.
And then on Instagram, I still don't have the blue check. It's ridiculous. Don't get me started on that. But it's it's at the Kevin L. Johnson.
At the Kevin L. Johnson. There you go. Mm-hmm. And again, it's been a pleasure. And again, welcome back anytime. Dave, where can they find you?
Find me at Dave_Quist.
I am at B Secord. Find our show at Blockbuster Cast, and you can follow us on or subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us reviews, all that. We'd really appreciate it. And there we go. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. For Dave, for Kevin, I'm Ben, and as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
at the movies.